Hey there, thank you for coming back to my channel, and if this is your first time here, welcome. In today's video, we'll talk about all of the new eye products that Rom&nd brought out recently. So that includes all of the brow products, the two new mascaras, as well as the very exciting 10-pan eyeshadow palettes, which are called the Better Than palettes. Let's jump right into the video. I'll be talking about the products that I got from Rom&nd in this video in the order that I applied them to my eyes, which means the first product we'll talk about are the brow products. In this release, Rom&nd brought out 3 formula of brow products, a flat pencil, a sharp pencil, and then also a brow fixer gel. I got the sharp brow pencil in shade C2 Grace Taupe. On one side, we have the traditional looking rounded shape fine line pencil. On the other side, there is actually a sponge applicator filled with brow powder. The pencil itself is a pretty waxy and kind of hard formula, so it was slightly difficult to swatch on bare skin. The color of the pencil itself is a dark espresso brown. The color of the brow powder that is inside the sponge applicator is slightly more cool tone and slightly darker than the color of the brow pencil. This brow pencil is very convenient to use thanks to the construction. I first used the pencil side to line my eyebrow and define its shape, and since the color of the pencil is not that dark, I am not at risk of over-defining my eyebrow. Then, using the brow powder with the sponge applicator, I fill in the inside of my eyebrow, and since the brow powder are not super pigmented and dark, I get a very natural looking eyebrow using this sharp brow from Rom&nd. For the flat brow pencil, I got the shade C3 Modern Beige. This is a slightly lighter and also warmer shade than the C2 Grace Taupe shade. The formula of the flat pencil is also more pigmented and slightly softer than the formula of the sharp brow pencil. This product, and particularly this color, is going to be great for me on days when I don't want to wear a lot of makeup, but I want to fill in my eyebrows to really shape my eyes and also my face. In this side-by-side, I think you can see that the side where I use the sharp brow pencil might look a little bit more neat than the side that I use the flat brow pencil. Other than that, both sides looks pretty great and natural to me. The Hano Brow Fixer is a clear brow gel. This is the last step in the brow makeup routine to seal everything in place. The formula is quite wet when first applied, but does dry down very quickly. And I definitely did feel the brow fixer holding all my hair together. However, I did not feel any crispiness. So with the brow fixer, I actually don't have much of an opinion about it. This is a nice product, and I like that even though when you use this product, you will keep all of the hair in place, your eyebrows will not feel like you just put some hairspray into them. However, I don't really have that much of an experience with these kind of products since I am fortunate enough to have eyebrow hair that are pretty obedient, and I rarely ever need to resort to a brow gel to keep all of them in place. However, with the 2-eye pencil, or eyebrow pencil rather, I fully expected that I would actually enjoy the flat pencil better than the sharp pencil, just because I usually like to not spend too much time on shaping my eyebrow, and this is very, very convenient for me. However, because this sharp pencil is actually 2-in-1, so you have a pencil on one side, and then you also have this sponge applicator on the other side, which means that this one single product will actually replace 2 different products for my eyebrow. So I think personally, I will actually reach for this sharp pencil from Rom&nd much more often than I reach for the flat pencil formula. Moving on, we have the much anticipated and very exciting 10-pan eyeshadow palettes, which are called the Better Than palettes. The 4 new 10-pan eyeshadow palettes are all part of the Secret Garden release. We have the number 1 palette, Pampas Garden, number 2, Mahogany Garden, number 3, Rosebud Garden, and number 4, Dusty Fog Garden. So I want to point out a couple of things that I find very appealing about these palettes, and these features were also the things that caught my attention immediately when I saw the promo images for the Better Than palettes from Rom&nd. First of all, I really appreciate the compact and minimalistic packaging, and I appreciate the fact that there are none of the extra things that I'm not going to be using anyway in these palettes, like a mirror or a brush, which are usually of low quality anyway. Secondly, I appreciate that there is a very clear gradient of the shades in each of these palettes, and the shades have also been organized in a way that it's clear which shades are used for what. So for example, in this palette I have here, which is the Rom&nd Garden palette, we have two lightest shades, which can be used for base. Then we have these two medium shades as well as the shade on the corner here, which can be used for contouring, crease defining, or as transitional shades. Then we also have a darkest shade in the same color family, which can be used for line blending. On top of that, there are also 4 glitter and shimmer shades on the top row here, which are all of different texture, color, as well as particle sizes. So even though you only have 10 different shades in a single palette, you can achieve different makeup vibe depending on which of the glitter and shimmer shade you choose to use to top up your makeup look with. In each of the palette 1 through 3, there is one sequin glitter with very large particle sizes, and all of the glitter particles in the sequin glitter shades have different colors, and sometimes they're even holographic. 2 of the glitter shades are transparent glitter shades with different base color, and lastly, they all each have one shade, which are very densely packed metallic glitter as well. Let's now also take a look at the swatches of all the colors in the Better Than palette 1 through 3, as well as compare them to each other and to other eyeshadow palettes that you potentially have in your collection. Palette number 1, Pampas Garden, is a bright and slightly white base coral palette. This palette reminds me of the 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐜𝐿𝐴 palette from Espoir, but it is even slightly brighter and also warmer than the 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐜𝐿Ae palette. The shades in this palette are, from left to right, Skin Beige, Pink Pampas, Mellow Coral, Mood Brown, Deep Brownie, Glam Star, Sparkling Petal, Shining Pampas, Coral Day, and Sunshine Shower. Palette number 2, Mahogany Garden, is a warm, woody palette. The matte shades in this palette are Cotton Beige, Soft Dream, Mouldy Wood, Maroon Brown, Deep Mahogany, and Burny Brown. The glitter shades are Dazzle Honey, Glaring Sun, Glaze Gold, and Earthy Glam. Everything about this Mahogany Garden palette makes me want to compare it to the Into Lace palette from 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐜𝐿Ae, and this is a comparison that I'm glad I did, because side-by-side swatches show you that these two palettes are surprisingly similar, both in terms of the color composition as well as the color variety. So I would actually suggest that if you already own the Into Lace palette from 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐿Ae, maybe pass on this Mahogany Garden palette. Number 3, Rom&nd Garden, seems like the perfect expansion of the Better Than Eyes eyeshadow palette in dried rose. This palette consists of neutral, rose, and rosy brown shades that are neither too dark nor too light, and none of the shades are white base, so it is a palette that can be enjoyed by many people. I also want to show you side-by-side swatches of all the shades in palette number 1 and 3, because these two palettes can look quite similar at first glance. However, in this swatch, you should be able to see that palette number 3 is the slightly darker and more muted color story, while palette number 1 is definitely quite warm and very orange. Now, if the palette number 1 through 3 in the Secret Garden collection from Rom&nd are pretty standard in terms of shade as well as texture composition and also color scheme, The number 4 palette in Dusty Fog Garden is definitely the most unique out of the collection. I definitely have not seen this kind of color scheme being used to make up an entire eyeshadow palette, definitely not in Korean makeup, and I don't even think that I have seen this kind of color scheme in Western makeup before either. This is definitely a must-buy in the Secret Garden collection from Rom&nd, even if you don't usually wear cool tone eyeshadow. I initially thought that the Dusty Fog Garden palette was going to be quite similar to the Botanic Mauve palette from 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐤𝐚𝐢. However, when I swatched the two side by side, I can definitely see just how much more gray tone the Dusty Fog Garden is compared to the Botanic Mauve palette. The Botanic Mauve palette looks quite warm when swatched next to the Dusty Fog Garden palette. Even though I said that the Dusty Fog Garden palette is a must-buy in the new Secret Garden collection from Rom&nd, I do not necessarily think that this palette is a comprehensive palette, at least if you have a makeup style that is similar to mine. I have found that I only am able to create a limited number of looks using just the shades in this particular palette. However, if you use the Dusty Fog Garden palette as a companion palette for other palettes you have in your collection, I think you will be able to achieve very sophisticated and interesting looks because of the very unique color scheme that the Dusty Fog Garden has to offer. The last step in my eye makeup routine is mascara. So let's now review and compare the two new mascara formula that Rom&nd has brought out. The Han Oh Fix mascara comes in two varieties, long black and volume black. The differences in the packaging comes in the color of the tube as well as the shape of the mascara wand. The long black variety has the slightly curved and thinner mascara wand, while the volume black variety has the chubby and rounded shape mascara wand. Here I have used the two varieties on either side. On the side where I use the long black variety, my lashes are separated and also lifted, while the side that I use the volume black variety, my lashes are slightly clumping together, but they're also more defined and more curl in my opinion. I enjoy using both of these mascaras together, and I think this is the best way to use them. So I would use one coat of the long black mascara to separate and lift, then concentrate a coat of the volume black mascara on the outer lashes to build up the volume and create shapes for my eyes. Before ending the video, let me summarize my thoughts on the products that I review in this video and also give you my recommendation. Out of the 3 eyebrow product, I think the product that you should definitely check out is the Sharp Brow Pencil. Because of the addition of the sponge side in this particular product, this pencil is going to shorten the amount of time that you spend on your brow makeup, and it can replace 2 of the brow makeups that you potentially are using. Furthermore, if you are someone who like your eyebrow to be nicely and neatly shaped, but still look very natural and like you are not wearing any brow makeup, then this is definitely the product that you should try out from Rom&nd. Out of the 4 Better Than palettes, I stand by my statement earlier that the Dusty Fog Garden palette, which is palette number 4, is a must-buy. The color scheme is such a unique color scheme, and it is also such a hard-to-find color scheme in Korean makeup that I believe it will make a very good companion palette for any other palettes that you have in your collection. And this palette will also help you expand on the kind of looks that you can achieve with your existing arsenal of makeup products. The other palette that I would recommend for people who are looking for a more comprehensive eyeshadow palette would be the Rosebud Garden palette. Even though this palette is a pink palette, because of the drop of brown that is present in a lot of the shades in this palette, as well as the vastly different glitter color and textures, I think this palette could be enjoyed by a lot of different skin tones and a lot of different styles of makeup. And then I also recommend that you check out both of the mascara formula that Rom&nd brought out. I really enjoy combining both of these on my eyelashes so that I get eyelashes that look really natural, yet still voluminous and lifted. That is everything for today's video, guys. I hope this has been useful to you, especially if you are feeling a little bit overwhelmed by all of these new eye products from Rom&nd. Let me know in the comment section below which of these products you are planning to pick up, and if you have already picked up some of these products, let me know what you think of them. Hit the like button if you have enjoyed the video, and also consider subscribing to my channel for more content on Korean beauty in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.